G'day guys, welcome back. My name's Greg and this is my train room. Today we are looking at Modratec. That might be a name that some of you have not heard in a very long time. I finally pulled out this old kit that I had laying around for a good 10 years or so and finished putting together, and I just want to have a chat with you about this kit in particular, and then model railway levers in general. So here comes the credits, and we'll get into finishing off this kit. So this is the Modratec lever frame, that has been in this state of completion for, I'll say, about 10 years. Yeah, could be 9, but yeah, a bloody long time. It's been following me everywhere I've gone. It's made the move down to Tasmania here. It's just been living in a box with the rest of my trains, and I thought, bugger it, let's finally do it. So I've gone through everything I have, and I'm surprised at how much I still have. I've got 4 of the remaining 6 bolts, so I had to go out and buy 2 more of those, and I only had 2 of the brass spacers for in here. One of them I have not brought with me, but I still had to go out and buy some brass tube, so I will cut this up to make the remaining 5 spacers. It's the same diameter, I believe, or very, very, very close. That's the outside diameter, but the inside diameter is a bit larger than the old stuff here. So this wall thickness is a bit thicker. I'm hoping it won't make too much of a difference. Obviously, it means it has a little bit more play around the bolt. But yeah, we will just have to see how we go with that. I'm surprised that I still have enough springs and ball bearings to place inside the levers here. If I remember correctly, this is the point I got up to and just couldn't do it and gave up then. So hopefully now with more maturity behind me, I can take the patience to sit down and get all these right. I have lost the tools that came with this kit to put the ball bearings in, but on their website it does have a link to a YouTube channel of someone else who does it by hand, basically. So I'm going to try his method because that's the only choice I have. So yeah, first step will be to cut up this brass rod and start getting fiddly with all the balls. I'll let you know when I'm done. So there it is, guys. That is the completed, I suppose, 6-bay lever switch from Modratec. So the brass tube, although it was the same external diameter, which is probably the most important part, the fact that it's not the same internal diameter means that they do, if I move this one per se, they do move around a bit, so they actually get pushed in there and then get pushed out again. So it's not the tightest it could be, but the switches still, yeah, feel very, very good. Very clever. Basically, there's a little ball bearing in there. That when the switch is at the back, it's sort of on the bottom of this round bit, and then as you pull it forward, it is in the middle, so it doesn't really want to be in there. And then as you bring it to the front, it's down the bottom again. So that sort of, yeah, acts as a little bit of a catch, just to sort of, yeah, hold in there a bit, a little bit of pressure to get it rolling, and then clicks back in. Yeah, just brilliant. I only have one of the original brass rods. I no idea. I had another one. I took it to the shop when I was buying this one. I may have left it there because I cannot find it in my car, in my or in the train room. So no idea. I should point out also, ignore the fingernail polish, please. That is slowly coming off, and I'm sure my daughter will want to redo it again soon. So now that we have that completed, the next step would be to connect it to the layout using what they call it, WIT, wire in tube, as you can see there. This looks like a nice and simple way to do it. You can also, you know, somehow connect these to switches and control everything electronically. I'm really keen to do it using the wire. However, I think there's going to be issues with the wire and tube method for my layout for two reasons. One, where this is going is only 300 mils deep, and I'm not sure, you know, the tight curves that this could go through to get to that. And also, I want to use a couple of these on crossovers, so using one lever to control 2 points. In the instructions it said you can do this by putting a U in the wire, so basically running it up, controlling one point and then making a U to control the other point. My issue is, again, twofold. One being quite narrow baseboard that, well, I can get a decent U shape in there, and also because I've got N-scale track, those points are much closer together than you'd have for HO. So with HO you can make a larger radius semicircle compared to the N-scale, which may be a bit tight. So instead I'm going to still use the wire and possibly use the tube, and basically run it as it would be in the real world, basically running in straight lines with different pivot points and whatnot. Obviously, Modratec haven't provided any sort of pivots. I don't think they do in general, so I'm going to work out how to do that myself. So I think, let's get back into the train room, and we will have a look at what this is actually going to do. So now that I've got this lever frame, working out how to actually implement it on the layout is the next thing. I've decided it's going to be down this end of the Sydney terminal, where we've got all the points that are used for the relief tracks and the runarounds. Actually works out really well. 6 levers basically controls all these points perfectly. We'll have one lever for the crossover from platform 4 to the relief, another one for the crossover from the relief to platform 3, and then with the Ys and the points we have on platforms 1 and 2, basically the Y will be paired up with one of the crossovers. Paired up with one of the points. I haven't decided whether that's track 1 or track 2 yet, and then the other one will just be a single point. So basically 4 levers will control pairs of points, and then the remaining 2 will control single points. I'm going to probably mount this here somewhere in the middle. This is still a bit funky. I'm not too exactly sure how I'm going to do this, but basically around the middle here, and then run out on top of the baseboard to all the points. As you can see, I've pulled off the platforms here. I originally did this because they weren't amazing. They were a bit tight up against one of the tracks here. They weren't as straight as I thought they were when I put them in, so there's a bit of scraping. I didn't cut this one here very flush. Wasn't very happy with how I cut platform 1. So, and I wasn't exactly happy with the foam. I may still use the foam. I'm not too sure. I got a little bit more thing around with that, but hey, that's what this layout's for. This is experimenting. But yeah, basically this will sit on here and then control these points, hopefully. But while I'm here, I want to chat a bit more about point levers and controlling points manually and mechanically, and more realistically too, rather than just a switch. Like a little hobby switch that you get from JCar and whatnot. So Modratec is a name that, I'm sure some of you may have faint memories of. Looking at their website, they will sort of look like they were sort of big, mid to early 2010s. Looks like their last update at all was in 2019, but even then I don't think much was going on then. I believe I purchased this while I was in uni in Brisbane, so the early 2010s. I'm sure they were at the Brisbane Model Train Show, which makes sense. They are, I don't know if it's a Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast or Brisbane-based thing, but Southeast Queensland-based company anyway. No idea what's happened to them. If you know anything, I'd love to hear in the comments, because I think this is a great system. It's not the most prototypical. You know, there's not the what do you call it? The lock thing that, you know, you pull to lift it up. I know it's got a special name, but it feels great. The little ball bearing in there gives a really nice sort of locking feel into it. I think it looks great. With a little bit of modelling around here, you just show that much of it, and it would, yeah, it'd blend in very nicely. So yeah, and my question is, what happened to not only Modratec, but just why aren't we modelling this system? You see so many and so many more details coming into our models, especially with, you know, sound, or DCC and then DCC sound. So our trains getting more realistic, they're getting more and more detailed. Buildings are getting, especially with 3D printing, buildings are getting more and more detailed. We're really replicating what is out there. And track, you've got the bullhead track now. I'm not sure if it's an N scale, but you know, for your bullhead track, you're getting finer and finer scales, so like rail profiles in the track. But I just feel like point levers don't exist. For example, I've got the Cobalt-S lever. I've only got one of these, and yeah, it looks really cool. Very expensive for one lever, and it's all electronic, I should say. Yeah, and I don't know if I read or if I heard that DCC Concepts is also going out of business or no longer manufacturing. So again, more information about that in the comments, please. But yeah, these are really the only two things I've seen that have proper point levers. And yeah, I just want to know why that is. I think it's such a great system and a great concept that the railways created. And yeah, why is it not being utilised and modelled more? I know Bexhill West has done some great videos on interlocking. If you haven't seen those, which of course you've seen those, if you're watching my videos, you're watching Bexhill West. Yeah, he's done some amazing videos about interlocking that I think, yeah, really help the conversation about modelling point levers and in particular interlocking. But yeah, so finally, if you know anything about anyone else creating point levers, because yeah, I'd love to do some more of this. Like Modratec, there's basically nothing on YouTube. I think there's 3 videos. There is 0 things on eBay under Modratec. This just disappeared. And I think it's a great Australian company that built very simple brass models that do the job. And cheap too, I believe. I don't know how much this was. Again, I bought it 10 years ago, probably longer. And I was a poor uni student when I bought these, and I still forked out for it. So it must have been a decent price to encourage me to get it. I know the point levers, fortunately, this one here was gifted to me from a mate, but these aren't cheap. And so, yeah, finding a nice cheap way to mechanically operate points and switches and signals is something that I think the hobby is missing. So as part of my journey, I'm going to look into ways to utilize these to the maximum, utilizing this to its maximum, and maybe even, yeah, making my own. And yeah, trying to find a way to fill that niche or fill that void in my modeling soul. Because I think point levers and the lever frame and the signal box was just such a core part of how the railways developed and how they became so optimized, I suppose is the best word for it, and how they, yeah, kept everything running. So thank you for listening to my little rant. You can tell I'm quite passionate about this one. And stay tuned for the next update, which I think is some bridge stuff down that end of the layout. Cheers.